Running a 5K can be a pretty easy thing if you know what you're doing. In today's video, we're gonna break down how to breathe, how to run, what to wear, and how to train for a 5K so you can get there as quickly as you can and then injury-free as possible. So let's dive into it, guys. The first thing we are breaking down is how to breathe. So when you're running and you build up cramping and lactic acid, the reason why you do is because you don't have enough oxygen going to your muscles to keep them going strong for the endurance of the race. So the way to breathe and help control and maximize that oxygen going into your muscles is to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. So you're going in and then out. And you want to find some sort of rhythm, whether it's 4 strides breathing in, 4 strides breathing out, somewhere where you can be consistent during your time of running, whether it's a 5K, 10K, or whatever. Now, me personally, I like to breathe in through my nose and out through my nose. That helps me control, both the strides for the coming in breath and the exhaling going out, but that's just me. It can get snotty in the wintertime, runny nose, all that kind of stuff. So just see where you are comfortable with that. But the biggest thing is you have to breathe in through your nose and either out through your mouth or out through your nose again, but just to breathe in through your nose to help concentrate that oxygen in your blood. Therefore, you're getting maximum supply going to your muscles and helping reduce the chance of that lactic acid buildup or lactic acid buildup in your legs where you're cramping and stuff like that. So breathing is a big part, and it is going to be something that you get better as you expand your lungs, which is called aerobic threshold. So the more that you increase your aerobic threshold and expand those lungs, the more you're gonna be able to run further and have to walk less during a 5K. And that's where you get faster with the times and stuff. So first off, breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. Pro tip number 1. Tip number 2 when it comes to running is going to be, what shoes are you going to wear? So if you are someone that is just getting started, you might not have running shoes and you just have shoes that you would wear to the gym. These are my gym shoes. These are cross training shoes by OnCloud, and notice how they are pretty even keel from the front to the back. There's no thicker edge, there's no thinner, it just kind of is the same. This is great for working out because it keeps your body not forward on your toes, but even footed for when you're doing deadlifts, lunges, step ups, anything like that, that you want a workout shoe to be like this. When you are running, you do not want a shoe to be like that because the problem is we're meant to run on grass. Now that we're in the modern world and we're running on concrete and pavement and things like that, we are pounding our heels constantly on the ground. So running shoes have made it more comfortable and allow you to run further because they have a thicker sole at the base and then comes forward into a tapered for your toe. So see how thick this is versus how thin this is. This thickness is important because if you're running properly, which means a full stride, and we'll get into that later, you are going to want this padding here to help absorb so you don't get any, shin splints, knee pain, hip pain, anything like that. The longer your stride is and the more you can have cushion, the better you can run, for a 5K and help with your speed because of your shoes. Don't have to be fancy. You can go to a shoe store and spend, $200 on a perfect fitted shoe. If you're just getting started, go to Amazon, find one that's in your size, and then see what price you are comfortable with. These are all Swifts, so these are kind of like Hoka's. Hoka's is a big name brand, but you can go with these. They're about $50 versus Hoka's can be $150 to $250, just depending what you're going to be doing with them. But start with something that's affordable, and then if you like running, this is a big passion, definitely upgrade at that point. But if you're just getting started, you can try something like this and see how your feet feel afterwards. Now, if you want to be faster, the one thing you have to do when running is focus on your stride length. And there's 2 stride lengths that you are allowed to do. One is walking, one is running. That is it. There is no jogging. There's no, just dragging your feet around and pounding on your feet all the time with a jog. You either want to walk with a long stride or you're going to run with a long stride. The longer your stride is, the more you're putting weight through your hips and not putting weight on your knees, ankles, and shins, causing you to have, shin splints, knee pain, plantar fasciitis, all these kinds of things, because jogging literally beats down on your body. It beats down on your spine, beats down on your hips, knees, and everything else that, it is 100% one of the worst things you can do for your body is to jog. Now, if you actually watch a video of like marathon runners that are, elite, they are going to have a full stride going from your leg up to your butt and then back down again. They're going to get a full gait. So each step is going to be open versus closed, and you're going to allow your body to have more strength. Therefore, each step you take, you're covering that much more ground. Even when you're walking, you're taking long stride to cover that much more ground. The less steps you take, the more ground you are covering, the faster your time is going to be. As you increase that aerobic threshold, like we talked about before, you're going to be able to run longer and walk less, because therefore your body can maintain that endurance for an extended period of time. But stride length is super important if you want to get faster and you don't want to beat on your joints. So stride length is going to be what you want to be focusing on. And what is that again? That is going to be walking, and that is going to be running. No jogging whatsoever. You either walk or you run, and that is it. It doesn't have to be a sprint, but it has to be a full stride run to give your body that full ample movement to be able to handle a 5K. 3.1 miles is a good, fair distance to be going. So if you're doing that over and over and over again training, you don't want to be pounding and hurting yourself. So stride length, see how it's different. Do not jog. So there are two different kinds of stretching. The stretching you do before the run and the stretching you do after the run. Now, before the run is important because you want to activate the muscles that you're about to be using. Therefore, they're not just cold going for a run and putting a lot of tension on them. So active or dynamic stretching is what you want to do prior, and you want to be loosening up usually the 4 quadrants. So that is your quads, that is your hamstrings, that is your calves, and that is your glutes, so your piriformis. Those are the 4 areas you want to get loose before you run, and you can do it with dynamic stretching, you can do it with a foam roller, or you can also do it with a massage gun on those 4 areas. You want to do about 2 to 3 minutes on each area, and then you're going to move on to the next area, and then you're going to go out for your activity, whether it's a walk, run, or whatever you're doing on that, but you want it to be warmed up first. When you are done with your activity, you then want to static stretch. That isn't bouncing, that is holding, that's taking a deep breath in, and every time you exhale, get deeper into that stretch. Why? Because now that your body is done, you want to keep it loose so it doesn't get tight on you and think that it's going to be getting ready for this next activity. You want to keep it loose, therefore you don't have cramps or issues, or a lot of people have IT band issues because they get too tight because they're not stretching properly after their runs. Because every time you take a step, your body is balancing on that one leg. And the way it balances is it uses your IT band from your butt down to your calf to stabilize you, otherwise you would fall over. So in order to keep that IT band at bay and not to be excruciating when you're doing foam rolling or massaging, you want to be able to stretch afterwards, but also warm up beforehand. So remember, you're gonna be warming up the 4 quadrants, the quad, the hamstring, the calf, and the glutes / piriformis, and then you're gonna do the same thing at the end with a static stretch for the quads, the hamstring, the calves, and the piriformis. So active before, static after is the perfect recipe to keep your body as loose and comfortable as possible. It is up to you when you are training for a 5K if you want to have a wearable or not. If you want to see, where your time is, if you could be faster, you are going to be timed during the race. So if that time matters to you, then considered a more athletic approach would be to do a 5K in about 30 minutes, or to be a more relaxed approach would be to do a 5K in about 60 minutes. Doesn't really matter, it's up to you and what your goals are. But if you are going to track yourself, let's say you want to be getting at a 30-minute time. First, you want to be timing what can you do in 30 minutes. Is it 1 mile? Is it 2 miles? Is it all 3 miles in that 30 minutes or not? That is going to be a good judge for you to understand, okay, where do I need to improve on? Do I need to do more running and less walking? Do I need to get my stride better? Do I need to focus on my breathing so I'm not getting lactic acid? The more that you are being consistent and self-aware, the more you can see that distance get higher in that shorter amount of time. So again, a watch is not necessary. It's just a nice tool to be able to use to see how to maximize your effectiveness when trying to train for a 5K. So again, 30 minutes if you wanted to be more on the athletic and competitive, 60 minutes if you want to be on the more relaxed, but either which way, it's going to be what your preference is and whether or not you want a wearable or not. 5Ks can be a lot of fun. They're usually to support a great charity. They're usually there to, meet new people, be around the community, see something scenic, have a fun theme to it. So doing a 5K usually is a great starting point for most people. Hopefully what you learned in this video will be great tips to allow you to enjoy that process. If you guys have, tried running before and you have chronic issues with any injury or stiffness or whatever, please put a comment below. I love to answer questions. I would love to see you guys out there running. Be active, but to do it without any injury or issues. So comment below, like and subscribe if you haven't done it yet, and I'll see you guys next time.